You have been told that loyalty can be earned with kindness, trust, and shared memories. Yet the day your fortune changes, you will see even the warmest smiles fade. The problem is simple. You measure loyalty in sentiment. They measure it in opportunity. And if you do not understand this truth, you will be destroyed by those you once called friends. Loyalty, the most overrated currency in the world of men. You believe that loyalty is a chain forged by trust, friendship, and shared history. But I tell you, that chain is made of wax, and the heat of self-interest will melt it in an instant. The truth is not pleasant, but truth rarely is. A man will remain loyal to you only as long as it serves him to do so. The moment you cease to be useful, or worse, become an obstacle, his loyalty will vanish as if it never existed at all. In the courts of princes, I have seen ministers and confidants swear eternal devotion in the morning, and by evening, they are at the table of their master's enemy, promising him the same. In the streets, I have seen allies drink together, laugh together, defend one another, and yet, when an opportunity arises to gain an advantage, a contract, a promotion, a chance to move up, they will betray without hesitation, justifying it as nothing personal. Do you know why? Because in every man's mind, there is a silent, invisible scale. On one side, he places his loyalty to you. On the other side, his own ambitions, needs, and desires. As long as the weight of your usefulness tips the scale in your favor, you are safe. But when his own interest outweighs what you offer, the decision is already made, even if he hasn't told you yet. You may think this is a disease of corrupt politicians or greedy merchants, but it is the nature of all men. A soldier will follow his commander through blood and fire until he realizes the war is lost, and then he deserts. A friend will defend you in every quarrel until he fears his own reputation will suffer for standing beside you. A lover will swear to be yours alone until someone else offers them more comfort, more wealth, or more excitement. It is not that these people were lying to you when they promised loyalty. It is that their loyalty was always conditional, bound to their self-interest from the very start. Consider for a moment your own heart. Do you not also measure your allegiances? Do you not keep close to those who benefit you and drift away from those who drag you down? This is why the wise man does not place blind faith in loyalty. He understands that loyalty is not a gift, but a rental, and the rent is paid in the currency of usefulness. If you are powerful, influential, or beneficial in some way, you will be surrounded by people who appear loyal. They will flatter you, defend you, even risk things for you, as long as the cost is bearable. But watch what happens when your fortune declines, when you can no longer give what they seek. You will see the speed at which loyalty evaporates. Invitations stop arriving. Promises go unanswered. Those who once swore they would never leave you will quietly vanish, as though you never existed. And here is the most dangerous part. Many will not wait for your usefulness to end. They will actively seek to end it themselves if it benefits them. In politics, this is common. A subordinate may undermine you in order to take your place. A so-called I may leak your secrets to destroy you, just so they can step into the void you leave behind. In business, it is no different. Your partners may side with competitors, not because you wronged them, but because they see greater gain elsewhere. This is why the most dangerous mistake you can make is to believe that loyalty is fixed, unshakable, and eternal. It is not. It is fluid, it moves with the currents of advantage, and you must constantly ensure that the current flows in your favor. Men will walk beside you only as long as the road benefits them. The moment the path you travel becomes dangerous or leads away from their desires, they will find another road and they will walk it without looking back. You must, therefore, look beyond words and smiles. A man's loyalty is not proven when times are good, when the table is full and the wine is flowing. It is tested when the storm arrives, when your power is questioned, when your usefulness to him is uncertain. Only then will you see the truth of who stands beside you, and who merely walks beside you for the journey's convenience. You believe that because you have done much for a man, he will remember it. You imagine that your generosity plants a seed of eternal loyalty in his heart. But generosity does not plant seeds. It feeds appetites, and appetites grow hungrier the more they are fed. The truth is this: the human mind is quick to forget favors, and even quicker to demand new ones. I have watched men rescue others from certain ruin, giving them wealth, protection, and even risking their own lives for them, only to be abandoned, slandered, or betrayed by the very same beneficiaries. Why? Because gratitude is a weak chain. It is thin, delicate, and incapable of binding a man when his desires lead him elsewhere. In the moment you help him, he feels a surge of thanks, perhaps even a kind of loyalty. But this feeling is fleeting, melting away as soon as the next opportunity or temptation appears. And here lies the harsh reality. Your past kindness does not give you ownership over another's future actions. A man's gratitude expires the moment he convinces himself that he no longer needs you. In his mind, your act of generosity becomes part of a closed chapter, a debt he believes he has already repaid, even if he has done nothing for you in return. The scales, to him, are balanced simply because time has passed. Worse still, the more you give without demanding a price, the less value your gifts will hold. What was once seen as a great favor will, over time, be seen as something he was entitled to. He will come to believe that your generosity is not a choice, but your obligation. And once it becomes an expectation, there is no gratitude left, only the hunger for more. I recall, in the courts, seeing a nobleman save another's family from disgrace. He paid bribes, called in favors, shielded their name from scandal. For a short time, they praised him as their savior, showered him with compliments, and promised unbreakable allegiance. But within a year, they were plotting against him. Why? Because their need for him had vanished without that need. Gratitude evaporated, and envy took its place. They began to resent the very man who had saved them, for his power and influence reminded them of their own weakness. In the life of statesmen and merchants, I have seen it happen the same way. You lend a man money when his business is failing, and he calls you a brother. Yet when fortune smiles upon him again, he does not repay the brotherhood, he repays himself. He invests in his own growth, his own ambitions, and conveniently forgets the hand that lifted him when he was drowning. This is not malice, it is human nature. Men remember their own struggles more vividly than they remember the ones who ended them. There is another poison in the matter of gratitude, the silent belief that you are the one who owes them. Yes, you heard me correctly. If your generosity saved them from shame or ruin, they will begin to resent the fact that they were ever in such a position. And since you were the witness to their weakness, they will see you as a reminder of it. To erase that feeling, some will turn against you, if only to assert their independence from the shadow of your favor. Understand this. In times of desperation, a man's words of gratitude are genuine in that moment. But moments pass, and the tides of ambition and self-interest wash away even the sincerest thanks. Gratitude is not a permanent debt. It is a temporary mood. If you believe it to be otherwise, you will live in perpetual disappointment, waiting for rewards that will never come. The wise man does not give freely in the hope of eternal loyalty. He gives strategically in ways that keep the recipient dependent, indebted, or bound by ongoing need. A single great favor may win admiration for a season, but a series of smaller, continuous benefits keeps a man tethered for far longer. And even then, you must know, the moment you stop feeding the chain, it will snap. If you want, I can move to keynote 3 friends turn into rivals in times of power next, with the same intense, Machiavellian narrator style, so the flow remains equally sharp and gripping. When you are weak, your friends will appear as pillars of support. They will encourage you, celebrate your small victories, and offer their hand when you stumble. But understand this, their warmth is partly born from the comfort of knowing they stand above you, or at least beside you, as equals. They do not fear you in those days. They see you as safe, harmless, and perhaps even useful. But power is a dangerous alchemy. The moment it begins to transform you, it also transforms the people around you. You imagine that your rise will inspire pride in those closest to you. You believe they will rejoice in your success as if it were their own. Yet men's hearts do not work this way. The same people who once pushed you upward will begin to feel the weight of your shadow. The higher you climb, the more they will notice how small they appear when compared to you. And that realization breeds something far deadlier than indifference. It breeds envy. In the courts, I saw allies who once stood shoulder to shoulder, sharing wine and secrets, turn on each other. The moment one gained the ear of the prince, no argument, no open insult, just a slow, invisible shift. The conversation grows colder, invitations become fewer, words of praise are replaced with whispers of doubt. And soon, what was once camaraderie becomes silent competition. The truth is simple. Men do not enjoy being outshined by those they consider equals. If you rise too far above them, they will feel humiliated by your very existence. It does not matter if your success does not harm them directly. The mere fact that you have surpassed them changes the balance of the relationship. What was once friendship now becomes a reminder, a mirror they cannot look into without seeing their own lesser station. And the more they see you celebrated, the more bitter that reflection becomes. You may think that by sharing your success with them, by giving them opportunities, wealth, or influence, you can preserve the friendship. This is a mistake. Such gifts do not kill envy, they inflame it. For every favor you bestow from your higher position, you remind them that they are receiving what you can give, not what they can take. They will smile as they accept, but inwardly they will feel the sting of dependence. And no man enjoys feeling that his fortunes are in the hands of another. In the realm of merchants, I have seen partners begin as brothers, united by common struggle. But when one of them becomes the name that customers praise, or the face that appears in every meeting with the powerful, the other begins to plot in silence. Sometimes it is subtle, a lost contract here, a missed opportunity there, all to weaken the rising man's position. Sometimes it is open, lawsuits, accusations, public betrayals. In every case, the root is the same. Friendship cannot survive when one man's power becomes a threat to the other's pride. Even among family, this truth holds. Brothers who once fought side by side against hardship have turned against each other when the throne, the inheritance, or the authority of the household came within reach. The blood that once bound them becomes the very weapon they use to justify betrayal. They convince themselves that it is not envy, but justice, that they are merely taking what is rightfully theirs. Yet behind this reasoning lies the same venom, the hatred of being outmatched by someone they once called their equal. You must see clearly that friendship is strongest when both parties feel they have nothing to fear from the other. Once power enters the equation, it distorts the balance. The friend who cheered your rise when it posed no danger to him will now measure every step you take as a potential threat. Your victories will not be his victories. They will be reminders of the distance between you. Do not be fooled by the smile that hides the envy, or the toast raised in your honor by the man who resents you. These moments are masks, and behind the mask is the calculation of how to pull you down, or at least ensure you never rise further. The man who once fought to see you win may now fight to keep you from winning too much. When the crowd is watching, loyalty is the easiest act to perform. A man will stand beside you when the banners are raised, when the air is filled with victory songs, when the applause is loud enough to drown out doubt. He will clap you on the shoulder in the marketplace, speak of your virtues to others, and smile as though nothing could ever separate you. But understand this: a public loyalty costs him nothing. It requires no sacrifice, no risk, and no true commitment. It is a performance for the audience, not a bond with you. In the courts of princes, I have seen men who appeared to be the most devoted allies in public, their words polished, their gestures warm, their presence constant. Yet behind closed doors, they were plotting against the very man they praised. This is because loyalty shown in the open is often a shield to hide disloyalty in the dark. If they are seen standing beside you, they deflect suspicion. If they speak well of you in public, they gain your trust. And with that trust, they are better positioned to betray you when the time is right. The danger is that most men judge loyalty by its public display. They are deceived by the handshakes, the laughter, the appearances at feasts and ceremonies. But true loyalty is not proven when the world is watching. It is proven when there is no one to see it, when the choice to stand by you brings risk, danger, or no reward at all. And it is in those unseen moments that most supposed allies vanish. You must understand the nature of men. They guard their own interests first, and they will choose the mask that protects those interests best. If the winds of fortune blow in your favor, their public loyalty will be loud and visible. But if those winds shift, if standing beside you threatens their position, they will retreat quietly, pretending to be elsewhere, or worse, they will publicly remain beside you while secretly working to ensure your downfall, so they can step away at the moment of your defeat without appearing guilty. I once watched a minister in the prince's court who had served his master for years. In public, he was the prince's most trusted voice, defending him in council, praising him before the nobility, even swearing oaths of eternal service. But privately, he met with the prince's enemies, feeding them information, undermining alliances, and preparing the way for a new ruler. His public loyalty gave him the cover he needed to carry out his treachery. When the prince was overthrown, the same minister was at the front of the crowd welcoming the new regime, claiming he had served the prince only out of duty, not conviction. The same pattern appears in business, in friendship, even in family. A man may attend your celebrations, post words of support for you, and present himself as your unwavering defender in front of others. But when your reputation is attacked behind your back, he will remain silent. Or worse, he will quietly join in the criticism, making certain his voice is low enough not to be traced. Publicly, he remains the loyal friend. Privately, he is aligning himself with those who believe you are fading, so that when your influence ends, he will be standing in the right crowd. This dual nature is not an accident, it is a strategy. By keeping the appearance of loyalty, a man ensures he continues to benefit from his association with you, while also preparing himself for a future without you. He avoids risk on both sides. Should you remain powerful, he is seen as your ally. Should you fall, he can claim he was never truly on your side. This is the perfect camouflage for betrayal, and it works because most men cannot see beyond the public performance. You must train yourself to see the gap between what is said in the open and what is done in the shadows. Listen less to the praise offered before an audience, and more to the silences when you are absent. Watch who stands close when the applause is loud, and who disappears when the room grows quiet. True loyalty whispers in the dark. False loyalty shouts in the light. And the men who shout the loudest often have the most to hide. If you want, I can now expand Keynote 5: Control loyalty through power, not affection with the same intensity, so your full script remains unified and gripping from start to finish. Many rulers, merchants, and common men make the same fatal mistake. They believe that love is the most reliable foundation for loyalty. They think that by being generous, forgiving, and endlessly kind, they will inspire unwavering devotion. But affection is a weak anchor, easily lifted by the currents of self-interest. Love fades when it becomes inconvenient, when fear, greed, or ambition present a more attractive master. If you wish to hold loyalty, you must bind it to something stronger than affection. You must bind it to power. Understand that a man may love you today and betray you tomorrow, not because the love has vanished, but because the cost of keeping it has become too great. Love is warm, but it is not a shield. It cannot stop the knife of temptation or the storm of opportunity. Men will not abandon you because they hate you. They will abandon you because it serves them better than staying. This is why the wise ruler and the wise man in any station ensures that leaving his side comes with a cost heavier than staying. Fear, respect, and dependency are the true guardians of loyalty. A man who fears the loss of your favor will think twice before crossing you. A man who respects your authority will hesitate to challenge it. And a man who depends on your resources, your influence, or your protection will cling to you, not because his heart demands it, but because his survival does. These are the chains that hold more firmly than any words of affection. In the courts of power, I have seen princes who were adored by their people fall in a single season because they confused love for strength. Their subjects wept for them one day and served their conqueror the next, because the conqueror commanded fear and authority, while the fallen prince had only commanded hearts. In matters of survival, men choose safety over sentiment every time. Even in personal dealings, the same truth applies. You may believe that your friends will remain loyal because of shared memories and deep bonds. But bonds of affection are only untested promises until a crisis arrives. When a man is faced with the choice of helping you or protecting himself, he will not consult his heart. He will consult his interests. If loyalty to you is dangerous or costly, affection alone will not keep him beside you. The strategist does not seek to make men love him unconditionally. for no such love exists outside of illusion. Instead, he seeks to make men feel that they cannot afford to oppose him. He does this by controlling access to what they value most: their livelihood, their status, their ambitions. When you hold these in your grasp, their loyalty is no longer a matter of choice, but of necessity. Consider the merchant who supplies the entire city with grain. His customers may not love him, but they will never betray him to a competitor, because they know their tables will be empty without him. Consider the commander whose soldiers depend on him for victory and plunder. They may curse his orders in private, but they will march into battle for him, because his leadership keeps them alive and rewarded. In both cases, loyalty does not spring from affection. It springs from the reality that defiance comes at too high a price. You must also understand that affection can be weaponized against you. If you depend on the love of others to keep them loyal, they will sense your need and use it as leverage. They will demand more kindness, more generosity, more concessions, knowing you fear losing their favor. This transforms loyalty into a trap, where you become the servant to those who should serve you. But when loyalty is built on power, not love, you are the one holding the leverage. To command lasting loyalty, ensure that those around you are more afraid of losing your protection than eager to gain another's. Make them respect your strength more than they cherish your friendship. Let them see that their fortunes rise and fall with your own, so that betraying you is not merely a moral crime, but a practical disaster. When their well-being is tied to your survival, loyalty becomes not an act of the heart, but an act of self-preservation, and self-preservation is a far stronger force than love could ever be.